It's time for Lefties Losing It, and in further proof that you can never be far left enough for the increasingly crazy modern left, songstress and leftist activist Billie Eilish is being accused of racism and celebrating whiteness because she said this during her Dublin show over the weekend.
As you guys know, I'm Irish, so it's really cool to come somewhere and like everybody looks exactly like you, and you're all just as tasty as me.
Yep, for saying it's really cool to come somewhere where everyone looks exactly like you, she's being accused of being an ethno-nationalist. You know, I was feeling terribly sorry for the girl, but then I remembered this.
We are voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they are fighting to protect our reproductive freedom, our planet, and our democracy. Vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
Yep, you pander to the crazy, Billie. Don't be surprised when the crazy come for you. And that's a lesson actress Sydney Sweeney is learning the hard way. You see, the predictably lefty Hollywood type is now being called a Nazi promoting white supremacist because of this ad for clothing brand American Eagle.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very keens.
Yep, that's it. That's the so-called racist dog whistle heralding in a new era of white supremacy, if the crazy progressives are to be believed. And the meltdown is frankly too big to fully detail in this segment. Hundreds, if not thousands, of enraged videos online posted in response to that ad. And there are plenty of articles on this too, including this from MSNBC saying Sydney Sweeney's ad shows an unbridled cultural shift towards whiteness. Advertisements are always mirrors of society, and sometimes what they reflect is ugly and startling. And the calls for boycotts have already started.
Don't forget to boycott American Eagle for their racist online, talking about blue jeans and white people. Boycott American Eagle. Boycott the out of them. Boycott American Eagle. Do not buy them. And cancel this person, Ms. Sweeney. Cancel for her being racist, for doing Nazi propaganda. Cancel American Eagle.
Now, this next woman was reduced to tears by the ad.
And I don't know why. Maybe because it's just so blatant. I keep thinking that people just are not going to believe us until we're hung out there.
And the ad is being described among the left as Nazi propaganda.
Those Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ads are weird, like fascist weird, like Nazi propaganda weird.
My body's composition is determined by my genes. Hey, eyes up here.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle is making fascist propaganda like this? Probably not, but it's still really shocking. Like, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda.
Oh, what can you say? Apparently this ad is so grotesquely racist that it's going to end up in the history books.
You guys are complaining about that Sydney Sweeney jeans ad, so I went and saw it.
That's Nazi propaganda. Wow.
I thought it was gonna be like kind of bad.
That's gonna be in history books.
And now even the celebs are joining in the pile-on. Here is Doja Cat mocking Sydney Sweeney.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
And a warning to our viewers, this next story contains distressing content. Yesterday we covered the sickening scenes of violence in Cincinnati, Ohio, where 3 people who happened to be white were bashed senseless by large groups of cheering black folk. It looked like race-based attacks, but the racial element was a secondary issue. It was this extreme violence that was so disturbing, so much so that Vice President J.D. Vance weighed in on the issue. But yesterday, Cincinnati Police Chief Terry Thiege addressed the issue, and she made these, frankly, astonishing comments.
Social media and journalism and the role it plays in this incident. And yes, guys, that's you. That is you. Social media, the post that we've seen, does not depict the entire incident. That is one version of what occurred.
I'm sorry, what? One version of what occurred? The videos are clear, Terry. A crazed mob bashed 3 defenceless people senseless. A woman who came to the defence of a man being bashed was sucker punched by a man, knocked out cold. Is there a version where that is acceptable? Joining me now is American Culture Project Senior Fellow and School Choice Advocate Corey DeAngelis. Corey, what is the police chief on? She seems more upset by the footage going viral than the contents of that footage.
I mean, what is she on? She's in this new pill, this 3-letter drug called DEI, deflection, evasion, and incompetence. You could see from the very beginning of the video, what was she trying to do? She was saying, it's your fault. She was pointing at the media instead of taking accountability for the violence in her own city. She's the police chief. She's supposed to be in charge of security. Why weren't the police there? Why were they so slow? Why were they not handling the situation? And then later on, the journalists pressed her on this press conference and said, hey, well, what was taken out of context? You know, what are we missing here? The police chief just continued to dodge and evade. And it just looks like she's trying to say, nothing to see here. It's not my fault. It's everybody else's fault. And so this is just embarrassing, to say the least, for that police chief.
And this police chief is being sued at the moment by her own members. Several of them have claimed that they've been discriminated against because of their gender and their race. They're claiming they were bypassed for promotions in favour of minorities and female lieutenants. So it doesn't seem to be a happy workforce down in Cincinnati.
Might be some racial animus here. It is under investigation from the FBI. Federal authorities are even stepping in because this could be classified as a hate crime. But the police chief is trying to pretend like she might be a DEI hire herself if she's so incompetent and can't figure out how to keep her city safe. And the Democrat mayor, he's nowhere to be found.
Now, let's move to the media and the Russian collusion hoax. We saw them push that relentlessly for 4 years. But now they're claiming that the revelations contained in the documents declassified by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, they're claiming these are just a nothing burger. Here is National Review saying Trump was the victim of a trick here. Really? A trick? A dirty trick? Nothing to see here. What's your response to that, Corey? I mean, the chutzpah of the media who pushed this story so hard, so relentlessly for 4 years. Now when they've got actual concrete facts, they're no longer interested.
Yeah, it's just insane. They must have Trump derangement syndrome. This is the same outlet that in 2016, February of that year, they had a cover from their editors saying against Trump. So they've been against him from the very beginning. And yes, he was the victim here, but more importantly, the American people were the victim of this Russia collusion hoax that was pushed for years by the Democrats. And look, they just couldn't accept defeat. And so they pointed to Russia, Russia, Russia. And by definition, Tulsi does have new evidence and new information. She has declassified documents. So of course there's new information here. And so it's just baffling to me that you have some people in the media trying to pretend like Obama didn't have anything to do with this. There's going to be an investigation. I'm glad Tulsi is pressing on this issue, and we'll see what comes of it. But I mean, it's very obvious. It doesn't seem like there was Russian interference, and Barack Obama and the Democrats, they continued that narrative as long as possible.
Well, they didn't just continue it, they manufactured it because the reports came in whilst Obama was still president, but Donald Trump had won the election. He was waiting for his inauguration. And the reports came in saying, no, Russia did not hack the elections. They didn't try to get Trump over the line. And Obama and his team decided, well, we're going to manufacture the evidence. And these documents really detail at great length how that happened and how one event led to another. So for the media to not be curious about this, I think, is an absolute indictment. Now let's move along to Keir Starmer and President Trump. Their meeting and the topics discussed were fascinating. The dynamic between the two was fascinating. Here, the president talks about the importance of tax relief for family farms, and watch Keir Starmer next to him squirming because while the US is removing tax burdens for farmers, the UK is imposing new and increased taxes.
They don't want to do anything else. I speak to farmers, I say, would you like to live in my penthouse in Manhattan? It's the most beautiful. No, sir, I want this farm. And what happens is, I mean, we were losing a lot of people to suicide. They'd borrow money to pay the estate tax, and they were not able to pay it. And some banks are ruthless; they wouldn't do anything, and they would end up committing suicide. We have totally ended the estate tax in those situations, so there's no estate tax. So when a parent leaves the farm to the kids, they don't have to worry about their local, possibly unfriendly banker coming in and stealing their farm.
Corey, when you look at the full answer there, it's clear the president not only has a great affection for farmers, but he understands how important these family farmers are and how neglected they've been in recent years.
That's right. And Starmer was there just awkwardly sitting there. It was almost laughable. He didn't know what to do because Trump's on the right side of history here. The economy relies on the farmers to be able to produce, put food on the table for people, have those grocery stores and their shelves stocked. And it's basic Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If your economy doesn't have the basics, it's going to be really hard to be competitive at a global scale. So it says Trump's doing the right thing here. He's opening up the economy, lowering taxes, putting more money into the hands of American people. And that's always going to be a big win. So we also had the big, beautiful bill passed, which is a sign of more good things to come.
Now, before you go, let's look at this statement from Boston Children's Hospital, reaffirming their commitment to so-called gender-affirming care for children. Now, I'm pretty sure this mob who received hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer funds, they were saying not long ago that this wasn't happening, that youngsters weren't getting these irreversible treatments. They even deleted all sorts of material detailing their programs. But this is still happening in Boston, Corey. How is it happening in Boston?
I mean, well, you got a communist utopia in Boston, Massachusetts. This is one of the most liberal places in the country. And yeah, I mean, this gender affirming care, we should call it what it is. It is child abuse. And when it's allowed under law, it's state sanctioned child abuse. You have surgeries that are sexual for children. You have hormone therapies. You have puberty blockers. This kind of stuff should not be available to kids. And in some places, the Democrats are pushing for insurance companies to cover this so-called gender-affirming care. So for Boston Children's Hospital or to put out this statement, you can see all the words were so small. If you're explaining you're losing, they know they're on the wrong side here, but they've been found out. It's just like when we found out there was critical race theory happening in schools. At first, the teachers' unions would say, no, it's not happening. But when they couldn't backpedal anymore and we put the spotlight on them, they had to kind of change course and say, oh, well, okay, it's happening. We'll admit that. And we have to pretend it's a good thing now. But they're doing the same thing. We're going to look back in a few years, I mean, in the future and say this, I cannot believe. It's like basically lobotomies, modern day lobotomies. It's just crazy that they're doing these things to children.
And still doing it after everything we have learnt in the last 5 years. Corey DeAngelis, thank you so much for your time tonight.